Yeah, let's all in this mess. Listen, fellas, ladies, we got to talk about this. This is very serious. It's five forms of abuse that most of us probably been through. Let's talk about it right quick on the Brother Love Show.
And from number one in the nation, Richmond, California, taking the world, taking OG back. Yeah. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Brother Love Show. Tune in. We're going to talk about it.
Now, before I cook, any form of abuse is not warranted. Any form of abuse is not warranted. And I want to say this too. A lot of the abusers, not to give anybody excuses, but most abusers were abused. So this is how they communicate. And a lot of us have parents and people that's been around us that were abusers. Now we didn't really know that. I mean, you know why they did it, they just did it. But most of these people have been through one of these five forms of abuse. Now let's talk about it. The very first form of abuse I'm gonna talk about is just verbal abuse. Verbal abuse. Listen, if you verbally abuse a person over and over, from a child to a toddler, up into a young adult, into adult, do you know how bad verbal abuse is? And they say right now, and the numbers, like I say, some of these numbers are skewed. They got to be skewed, and I think based on demographic and where you come from and your environment, some of these are gonna be high. Now, right here, they say 40% of people, no matter who you are, 40% of people has been verbally abused. Verbally abused, 40. That is high. Now it's even staggering. Let's move on to number two. Now, number two is crazy too, because I mean, not everybody gonna fall under this, and I'm sure the number, like I said, the numbers is gonna vary. But the number two thing is sexual abuse. A lot of people been sexually abused, men and women. It's a staggering amount of people who's been sexually abused. And let me emphasize again that it's more not spoke upon when the woman does it, but it's a lot of boys and men that have been sexually abused by women as well. They say up until about 38% of people say that they've been sexually abused. Now, this next one is probably done affected all of us. Depending on where you live, this right here has affected all of us. And number three is that you witness violence. That's a form of abuse. If you keep witnessing violence, witnessing violence will rewire your brain. Witnessing violence will change your whole mind. They had times when people had witnessed stuff and they couldn't speak no more. It scared them that much. Little kids, people have witnessed violence and just never want to come outside again. Witnessing violence could change your life. Sometimes, being come to numb to violence. That's a form of abuse. You've been abused. That's mental abuse. But yeah, violence is a mental abuse. The next one. Now, I know all of us at one point we got disciplined. We all been disciplined by parents or whatever though, but they do have a point where you have physical abuse. You've been physically abused. Physically by somebody. You might not have went through none of that, but you've been physically abused by somebody. Somebody kept putting their hands on you. Everything you did, they slapped you upside your head. That's abuse after a while. You've been abused. They say 59% of people been through this. These are childhood traumas that, and a lot of us don't even know that we have until you can identify. Now, this is the last one. I'm going to let you go. I don't be cooking that long. Emotional abuse. See, people don't know, like, if your parents never hugged you, they never tell you they loved you, If somebody never sat down and said, "Hey, you doing good," that's emotional abuse. Most men have been emotionally abused. They don't even know it. That's why we so tough. That's why we can't say what's wrong with us, because we've been emotionally abused our whole life. Emotions don't serve men. Find an emotional man, and you'll find somebody that people don't really, because he's too emotional. Emotional abuse. Or even the flip side of that, somebody just making your life hell. A parent, a sibling, emotional abuse. And they say 96% of people, think of how that is. 96% of people have been emotionally abused or feel they feel like they've been under this. These are the people who we dealing with. Out of these 5 things, if none of this apply to you, man, salute. But most people I know have to go through one of these. They've dealt with this. This is a part of their life. This is what we need to work on, and this is why I do these videos. We got to put the light on where it need to be. Identify the emotional triggers and the abuses. If you can identify which one you've been under, you can know which one you need to work against. Build us all in this mess. The 5 verbally and emotional and trauma abuses that happen to people that we all need to talk about. Brother loves y'all.